It's time for the Ghostfire Media Network podcast show, featuring the stars of iRacing's IVRL and the AOLL. Now, here's your host, the Ghostfire Media Network crew.
Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ghostfire episode number 29. How is everybody's night doing? I am your host tonight, Adam Wood, and then our other podcasters up here be Carl Henderson. He's either this way, depending on which way the screen is. I always point this way, and everybody tells me I'm pointing the wrong way because that's the way he is on mine. And then we got Josh Laston. He's definitely down that way-ish.
I'm always at the bottom.
Yeah. Because you're last 10. Don't worry. I'm always like 100% last with the last name of Wood. My daughter yells at me constantly. She's like, Dad, why does our name have to be Wood? I'm always last. She's had to sit outside in the computer room. They ran out of computers, and they're like, here, go sit in the hallway and get on the computers. So yeah, she yells at me all the time.
I mean, at least she's probably at the age to where I'm sure there were many jokes about the name as you were growing up.
Oh! Apparently, Joe's saying he can't hear us.
The live meters are live meters. They are going back and forth.
Hey, oh no, I think it was
that was an operator error.
That was operator error on that side.
Yeah. I made sure I hit the unmute button before I started talking. I made sure I'm watching the live meters go across.
Well, it happened to Carl the other night that it wasn't that, so
just had to check.
He blamed it on the hotel connection. Okay, there we go. That's legit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and kind of go around the horn, see how everybody's night is going. We'll start off with the Mr. Josh Laston.
I'm probably not the best one to start with because, today was a little bit of a zone out day, so I wish I could say that was a positive, but I'm here. I have beer. It's finally available. It's my favorite time of year to where stouts start becoming the most prevalent beer, and my personal favorite drinking one is now available. And
what are you drinking?
Great Lakes Brewing's Oatmeal Stout.
I love oatmeal stouts. I haven't had that one though.
Well, they don't really go too far outside of the Ohio area.
You'll have to ship me some or something.
If it'll survive, I'll try.
Yeah. Oh, and cattail.
Oh,
yeah. Zazzles wants to be on the podcast this week very, very badly.
Yeah, it's so bullshit. Josh is out there on the pumpkin spice latte in that bottle.
I don't like pumpkin spice lattes. I don't like pumpkin spice really anything.
Yeah.
But I will not claim to be anything but basic under most circumstances.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, it's starting to get cold here in Texas. It was like 38 degrees when I woke up this morning. I'm out in the fucking desert, so it gets cold at nighttime, and then in the daytime, I think we got up to like 65. So you go from extreme highs to not really. I wouldn't say extreme highs, but I mean, 30-degree swing in the daytime. It's ridiculous. And then I got this new boss that just came in. My last boss was retiring. This new boss is like, he still has life left in him, and he wants to do great things. So he's like, hey, we're gonna start doing PT again. So this morning it's 36 degrees outside. So let's go outside, get a esprit de corps in the military, and we'll do some. We're gonna play ultimate frisbee. I'm like, that's what I really want to do. And then the ground was completely too wet. They chose a field that had no lighting whatsoever, so it's completely dark. So they're like, hey, there's a parking lot over here we can go and play. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Let's play ultimate frisbee in a concrete parking lot. That sounds like fantastic. Nothing can go wrong with this. So yeah,
especially considering you're ancient by Army years.
Oh, and dude, everybody is ancient where we're at. Like, so when we get up this, it's like we're at like 80 to 90% of us are all seniors in the military, so to speak. And you only have like a handful of the young bucks that are still ready, eager to go out there and conquer the world. Yeah, so yeah, it was fun. So much fun.
I'm surprised there weren't any sprained hips or anything in the process.
Oh man. I was just afraid of somebody dying on the concrete, trying to make a dive because they're used to playing ultimate frisbee on the grass, and people make some dumb moves to try to catch the frisbee.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be me in about 4 months. Whenever I get home, my cats are and my dogs are probably gonna annoy me.
Yeah. He wouldn't hang out with me while I was upstairs, so he's deciding to be especially obnoxious now.
Yeah, so my wife and I always do a call with her family every Sunday, like a video call. It's like a family get together, and like this cat knows every time like the Skype ringing noise happens, like, he'll come running over and start jumping. I'm dead serious. Every time it happens, he will come running over and jump on our laps, and like immediately has to be like center of attention. Makes no sense because otherwise he is I'm not saying standoffish, but he's not like that.
Yeah,
So
this is my standard basement time because my wife doesn't really come down here. He's my cat, and he knows that I will be alone and try to give him as much love as possible.
So Justin's out there said he was about to make fun of my last name. Sometimes my last name in the military is fun because back in the old school days when I was a young buck, I didn't go by my rank. Nobody really called you by your rank, and like the military is like, I'm Sergeant Wood. But back in the day, I used to just be Wood. So in the mornings you'd come up to people and everybody, I'd be like, morning Henderson, morning Laston, and then you guys would be like, morning Wood, and I'm like, gotcha. And then I walk away. That's fun.
Owning it.
Yep, you gotta own it. I always had fun doing that. You can't do it now because now it's like morning sergeant. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't work.
To be fair, at one point when I was in my teens, I think I saw a movie starring Sergeant Wood, but don't remember much about it.
I don't want to know about that movie. Oh, so how was your week, Carl? We talked about me and Josh. How about you?
So
man?
yeah, I mean, it's always gonna be the same thing with me because like
Hey, you got some new news this week. So I mean, a little bit exciting.
yeah. So I mean, so just in my defense, like normally, all my exciting stuff happens on like Saturdays and Sundays. So then by the time the podcast rolls around, I'm like, I don't freaking remember that. I've had an entire week of racing. That's all I remember. I got beat by Josh one night. I got beat by ZD and Blake last night. So but yeah, I'm joining the AOLL admin team and very excited about that. Gonna be helping out where I can with that, and yeah, just really excited to do what I can to help make the league better.
I got you, man.
I'd just like it to be known that, Carl, I beat you 2 nights.
What 2 nights?
I beat you on Tuesday too.
Tuesday was what I was talking about. You didn't beat me last night.
Oh God, no! I'm sorry. I'm kind of too used to that. I forgot about that.
You didn't beat me last night.
We'll get to that one. We do have our first guest waiting in the wings, who's kind of, with the exception of TNT, across many of the leagues we cover.
Yeah,
Thanks.
He got first really introduced to us first seen in the Fuel Racing League. So I decided that this is where he kind of belongs in that segment since he's more of a part-time racer in the AOL series. So figure we'll go ahead and bring in our first guest, Mr. Gael Brooks.
Well, hello there.
And also rocking Hypnotoad. And there we go.
Working on it. It took a little bit to. I had to do some downloading, so it's like, unfortunately, got some advertising on there, but doing the best I can.
Sounds good.
It works though. It also matches what you have for your driver photo. So
yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do when you're working with what I got. I mean, the paper bag works wonders.
All right.
I have so many jokes that aren't good for this podcast.
All right. So your first time here on the Ghostfire Media Podcast. So we like to, let all the viewers and listeners later on in the week kind of get to know you. So go ahead and tell us about you, who Guile Brooks is, what you do, personal life, and then we'll kind of start diving into if you have any professional experience outside of sim racing, and then if not, or if you do, then we'll move into the wonderful iRacing series. And how long have you been doing sim racing as a whole?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'll say I've been, yeah, say so on the personal side of things, married, have and now an 8-year-old. Let's say just about a week ago or so. So that's been a lot of fun. And say only child, she's definitely a handful. Let's say definitely appreciate the cat that's been hopping up on screen, as I got two of my own that like to make life difficult as well. And then yeah, I mean just to say I do IT work. Is I work for a nonprofit, so I just kind of help try to support computers for staff, as say if I can help them do their job, kind of a thing. That's basically what my goal is to help people do their stuff better than maybe it would be normally. So um as a whole, I'm pretty boring. Definitely say no official racing stuff like that. Just like the occasional, like we'd like to do, like with my dad, we've been doing like test and tune drag racing. He's got a drag car that we just take out for fun, which is probably on its way out, but we got more projects lined up for the replacement of that. And then for me, I have a 78 Pinto Sting. That's like kind of my perpetual toy that I've had since, I think, since either end of high school or college. It's older than me, so that's always good fun.
I mean, honestly, outside of the obvious stigma with those, it's a darn good car.
I do enjoy it. As I say, I like the fact that it's different, and saying that it always cracks me up is that the like during the emissions era and all that, factory 139 horsepower on it. But I say it's been long overdue with some changes and all that. So it's fuel injected now. It's got a 393 in it, so it's got like mid 300 horsepower. But just right now, it's been more of a garage ornament. I got to nail some stuff together with it to get it more drivable, kind of fix those little odds and ends that those perpetual projects have.
I mean, everybody has those kinds of projects. I kind of wish I had a garage for a car, and then mine would probably turn into a Legends, but
And then I'll say you're mentioning on like the racing and all that. It's kind of funny, like you mentioned, we're kind of getting to know all you guys through just like you said, like 3 different leagues at this point now. I think Fuels were kind of kicked off. And then obviously a little bit now, most recently with running a little bit of AOLL with you guys now that I finally have some openings again. And then dragging a handful of you guys over to my dad and his cohorts leagues with the Area 51. So I'll say it's been pretty fun to kind of get you guys all together in multiple leagues to kind of do a little bit of everything, the Indy cars, and then obviously the Cup cars, the trucks. So and through 3 different leagues as well. So that's been pretty fun as well.
honestly, we aren't going to hold against you if you shamelessly plug your own, because it's actually quite brilliant. And I'm not going to say this because I don't know what you look like, but you definitely have the voice for radio and the voice for broadcasting.
I also have the face for radio as well. I've been told many a time, but no, I've been really lucky as well. Just kind of like this honestly came out with my dad having leagues like, hey, you want to broadcast, and it just kind of steamrolled from there and just basically started up the green white checkered TV for them. And then I've been able to pick up really good people to help me out. I say I've got some of the guys I've been able to do broadcasts with. I mean, obviously you guys know Steve. I love Steve to death. Always fun to do the broadcast with him on the indie side of things on Tuesdays. But I mean, I've had guys like Brandon Webb. I mean, if you want to hear a voice for radio, Brandon's your guy. It's like the first time we heard him talk like in a voice, I was like, oh my God, why aren't you on the radio? And then I'll say Maxwell Caldwell's another guy I do a lot of stuff with. And he's kind of like a Dale Jr. He can really like hype up the race, gets super excited. And I'm kind of a more boring monotone type guy. And then hopefully, as I can try to hire my my partner in crime again at some point, Dale Knott, who's also my my unofficial crew chief for a lot of the racing that I try to do. Now that he's hopefully going to be back home again soon, I can start hiring him back up on the wheel.
So let me ask this: you say all of the racing that you do on the side and the crew chiefing. are you running anything like the Road to Pro, or just enjoying the fixed setup leagues that we get to see you in?
Yeah, I just like the fixed setup stuff. It's just fun. I was saying, like, I'm not really. I mean, basically, my competition that I try to do is myself. I mean, of course, I want to do well, get top 5, top 10s, whatever. But if I feel like I have basically a race where I do the best I can, I don't make any dumb mistakes, which is few and far between when I don't do that. Then I'm pretty content with stuff. And again, it's just the camaraderie. I feel like there's just too much pressure on that stuff. I also honestly I don't think I have the talent that some of these guys that I know who are working that kind of stuff. But it's just fun. I mean, let's say like we've built so many good friendships through online racing, through iRacing, and step it back even more to NASCAR 2003. I mean, I know some people, Don Runkle Jr. for one. I mean, I've been racing with him for years, probably, what are we, 2021 now? So probably say 10, 15 years at least. I've known that guy before actually finally meeting him a few years back, or a year or two ago. So, it's just a great group of guys. And I think that's what makes it the most fun too, is when you can get that core group, and it just makes it fun.
I was expecting you to say that your racing relationship with him could vote.
You might not be wrong there. I mean, it's like, depending on how quick we were both in 2003, it's very possible. It's like, you think about how far along we've come with NASCAR 2003, and then let's say, I think, what was it, First Racing and then iRacing. Yeah, it's been wild how much it's changed, how much it's grown, but it's like I said, it's been great. I mean, I've made so many friendships which you would never think about, just from people having the same interests, same hobbies, that are located all over the world.
So I've got a question for you, Yael. I know you run and broadcast multiple types of cars. I know I've been in an IndyCar race with you. Fuel with the Xfinity cars. You've been in the trucks. But if iRacing were to come down tomorrow and say, all right, everyone that's in the iRacing service has to pick one vehicle and they have to run that forever, what would you pick? Because you're kind of all over the place. I'm curious what you like the most.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, I would lean, just based on current stuff, I probably would lean towards the Xfinity car. I think it's probably putting on the best racing, where it's more in the driver's hands than kind of just the point and shoot of the Cup cars. That being said, the trucks are a pretty good amount of fun as well. But man, I'd say some of my friends have got me kind of sucked into the road racing stuff, so like the GTEs, GT3s, and stuff like that. It's just, I'd say, but I'm more of an oval guy, so I'd say, yeah, I think the Xfinity cars is probably where I would focus on. I think that'd be my go-to.
I'm gonna ask this really, really strange question. What are your thoughts on the Formula V?
I haven't actually got to play with them. I'll say the extent of my knowledge of the Formula V is people have done amazing paint jobs on them with the pencils, the Crayola cars. I said, honestly, that's about the extent I've really done anything with them. I'll say Don actually got me recently into the Skippies. I did a couple races with him in those, and I had never done those. Like, they were pretty fun. You could really throw them around, and you could use and abuse them, and they would handle it pretty well. So I'll say I'm assuming, at least I feel like the Formula V is probably a similar approach on that. No
Downforce, much less power. Honestly, if I had to pick a road car that would be my absolute favorite in the service, I would probably go with the Skippies.
They have been a lot of fun. I'll say, like, I think we did Mount Panorama, I think, was one, which, a huge track for a little car, but it was actually a good bit of fun. It was just like 3 or 4 of us goofing off.
Well, and once you get separated there's no finding someone either.
Yeah, no, that's where you start kind of getting on the chat, because I think we were all in either Discord or in the iRacing voice chat, kind of trying to distract them and make them miss their marks, and kind of cause trouble to help bring them back to you.
The walls are super close there.
I love that track. I don't know what it is. I just, at one point when I did I think it was the 12-hour race, something just clicked. It was with the GT cars, and just something clicked, and I was able to just be super consistent with them. I was having so much fun doing those. I think I ran it with my dad and my brother, I want to say. And yeah, it was just a blast to run that track in those cars. I think if you get that groove, then it's just, yeah, you can kind of just set sail.
So, So, well, let's go back into Fuel Racing League. So, what's your thoughts of the season? We got just 2 races left. How has 2021 B season treated you so far?
I have been pretty much mid-pack, I would say average overall. I'd say just consistency is what's got me into that Final Four race, Final Four playoff, I should say. I just haven't had the pace, the speed, to really contend with some of the heavy hitters, if you will. I've learned a lot from it, but so like even like Auto Club on Monday just wasn't the night I was hoping for. I was hoping for a lot better than I got, so I'm hoping I'll turn it around next week at Atlanta. But it's tough. It's very, very competitive. I kind of mostly had been starting from the back to just try to get a feel for the guys and do that. But then once playoff time came in, I was like, okay, now I gotta start qualifying, try to start up front and see what I can do. And it's very difficult still to say. They definitely don't make it's not an easy task to try to keep that track position and kind of stay up front. But a very competitive league. I say I've known Will Roberts for forever. That's a big reason why I come back. I think I want to say it was season 2, if I'm not mistaken, where I first started off of Fuel, and then I kind of ran off, did other things for a long time, and then just randomly got back in touch with Will, and he's like, "Hey, we're starting up another season soon." I was like, "Oh well, let me get in on that." And so it's been a lot of fun.
So what is your I am the greatest driver moment from this past season of Fuel?
Oh man, I gotta think back to the races that we've had. I got plenty of the opposite side of those things, but I'm trying to think what one of those would be, or one of the better race. I want to say it might have been Homestead, if I'm not mistaken, where I got a podium. It's one of those things where it's really good, and you feel really good when you can kind of compete with some of those guys, just the abilities they had. And I say Daytona, I'd say the season opener was definitely like kind of like the highest of highest, drop straight to a pretty big low, where pushing a teammate were just about to take the lead coming down the backstretch to the checkered, and then just a little bit of contact and saying ended both of our nights a fair bit back throughout the field. So that was also that's actually something I got to mention too. Is I think the biggest thing I've done is I'm obviously part of the Steel Horse team. Do a lot of I love hanging out with those guys. But then also I've kind of been adopted with Fuel with PMS, the Pelletier McQuestion team, and those guys are just so much fun to hang out with and BS with. And I think that's what's really, for me at least, has made that season just so much fun. Just even if the night's not going well, I'll say we're all in Discord and I don't know if we're probably not focused on the race more than we need to be. I say we're always just having a good time, and I think that's made it a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, it's sometimes having those teammates, that the random conversations that happen in your Discord are absolutely great. I don't remember, Carl, what you, Chris, and I were talking about last night.
Well, I was telling the story about how I got really drunk.
That's what it was.
I got really drunk this past Saturday, and realized about 5 minutes till midnight that I had not hit my exercise goal on my watch. So I had my wife drop me off at the front of our neighborhood. I was just going to walk home, but then I realized I wasn't going to get close to hitting enough calories, so I started jogging. And I'm barely able to stand up at this point, to be honest. And
your wife dumped you out of the car.
Yeah, well, and I'm jogging, and the jogging's still not working. So I break out into a full sprint. Like I am sprinting. I felt like I was going like 1,000 miles per hour, but I was probably just like weaving around. Like, but yeah, I would have paid to have been one of our neighbors, and
You probably hit a whole bunch of people's Ring cameras to set off some alarm.
almost certainly, and because I was probably loud too, because I have a feeling it was just like a loud like the entire time I was running. So yeah, and if it wasn't that we were talking about Josh, it was probably like talking trash about the Endeavor guys, because we always do that.
And then we lost to them.
Oh yeah, we do that a lot too.
Yeah.
It's still fun though. I'll say it's fun to start ribbing the other teams, and usually all in good fun. Obviously, tempers will flare during times during the races, but yeah, as I being part of Steel Horse, obviously we've, so I'm sure Adam, you're well aware. So we've been on our fair share of tiffs with other groups and other teams throughout the course of our seasons.
And yeah, and that's why I don't do in-car streaming anymore. Because back in the day before Ghostfire Media was a thing for AOL, you try to at least show it from some point of view, do in-car streaming and kind of showcase what's going on. And sometimes stuff happens. You say stuff when you're really pissed off in the moment. It doesn't really translate well when other people watch it. So yeah, stop doing that one.
And here's the one thing I will tell you. I hope your guys' teams are pushed to talk when you're doing that. Because our stream of consciousness is the absolute worst, especially when I hear an "oh no" coming from Carl.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing the VR helmet cam for you this past week, Josh, someone was interviewing. I think it was Blake, maybe Justin, said something on the lines of, "Man, I really hope you had his audio turned off." And I had kind of a small moment of panic. I was like, "Oh my god,
I'm smart
really
enough to know that there is no one that wants to hear the string of expletives coming out of my mouth."
Even at one point, like it was showing like you going through your pit settings, and I was like, "Oh no, we can't see that because I don't want for all I know, there's like some driver that's like having their wife watch, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Josh is changing his tires."
No one will.
It's a 30-second delay,
though.
That's true.
No one would care seeing me turning off fast repairs.
Yeah, it's a good point though on the Twitch streaming. I do it from time to time, but I say it's actually something I haven't done is shut off the other, like the Discord, so it does pick up what everybody else is talking about, which might be something to maybe make some adjustments in the future. But I'd say I'm pretty good about kind of biting my tongue and just kind of that whole thing, like take a deep breath, let it process, and then kind of go from there. So I think my age is showing where I've definitely kind of become a lot less reactionary, if you will, with stuff that happens on track. It's just like, oh, that sucked. All right, now let's kind of what's next from there.
It goes away with age because I feel like my filter goes away more as I age. To where it just comes out and I don't have the mental capacity to stop myself.
Yeah, I'm a lot more willing to press the push the talk button than I used to be when I was younger.
Was it we thought about that, like, ways to still broadcast the in-car stuff, and either I kept my mic going and then muted Discord from the actual feed, or B, just muted everything together. But it'd be weird if I'm carrying on a conversation with myself because nobody else is hearing the Discord side of the conversation. So we just decided to nix the whole entire thing, and then Joe stepped up, and after that, I think for a while, and he was putting up after the race replays and stuff like that up there. So it kind of made up for not having a live stream for that time being until Ghostfire Media kind of really kicked off on Sundays when Larry took over and started doing the Sunday night crowds.
Well, I mean, you guys have really, I've seen some of the stuff that you guys have been doing there. And like I said, for me, kind of getting my feet wet, if you will, compared to what I've seen you guys do. I mean, it's amazing. I saw the multi-streamer. You had like the one camera angle, you have a second camera angle, and then the track map. I mean, some of that stuff, that's TV level quality of the stuff you're putting on us. I was watching that. I'm like, man, I was like, how do you guys do this? And I've obviously been bouncing some stuff back and forth with you guys. As I think we're both using the SDK stuff. So I know you guys, we've been talking about like the points and how to maybe try to get that to be a little more, a little better and all that to make it a little more user friendly, if you will. But yeah, no,